Hello YouTube, in this video we're going to have the enemy take damage and get destroyed, as well as add some sound effects. And there's actually a lot going on, so let's go ahead and get started. First, I've added the hit sound effect into the sounds folder. I must have forgotten that. Now we're going to add an audio source to the player and enemy game objects. And for the player laser and enemy lasers, we're going to add a damage variable, an integer, straight into the inspector. We'll set damage to 1. And we can just double check in the canvas that it is actually there. Let's go back to the enemy. We're going to add a new variable, and it'll be an integer for health. And we'll set it to 3. Alright, and now we're going to search for trigger and choose trigger 2D. Just like before, we're going to drag out of the other and look for compare tag. And the tag we want is the player laser. And from the value, we'll drag to switch condition. And we'll connect the enter to the switch condition. And from true, we'll look for play one shot, choose our hit clip. Now we'll set health, connect that to play one shot, and now I want to get the value from the player laser's blackboard variable called damage. And to do that, we'll right click, go to variables, blackboard, get other of type. Under system, choose the one with integer. And for the blackboard, we want to drag the other into the blackboard port. And for variable name, we'll want to type in damage. And for operation, we'll choose subtract and drag the value into the set health. And now we want to destroy the player laser. So we'll drag other into the destroy node. Alright, so now we want to actually compare the health amount. So after destroy, we'll drag that into switch comparison, and we'll connect the health value into the A slot. And for the B slot, we're going to right click, go to variables, graph variable, system, choose integer, and we'll use a value of 1. Drag that into the B slot. And where there's the A is less than B port, we'll drag out of there, and then we'll look for play one shot again. This time we'll want to use the explosion sound clip. And finally, we'll destroy the enemy game object. And we can use the me variable. All right, let's test it. Oops, actually, to make this a little easier, I'm going to disconnect the velocity on start for the enemy, and we'll go ahead and test it again. You can hear that it's hitting. Look at the health. Except we don't get an explosion sound. So the problem is it's trying to play the sound clip at the same time it's destroying the object, and that's why we don't hear anything. And to fix that, we're going to use something called play clip at point. So if we search for that, plug everything else back in. And then we'll test again. And it does work, but the problem is play clip at point plays the sound clip at world point, which happens to be 0, 0, 0, and the main camera is at point 0, 0, -10. So to fix that, we need to create a camera variable using camera.main. And we'll call it camera. And if we drag that to the canvas using get, we'll drag that into the position port. And now if we test it again, we'll be able to hear the explosion sound a lot better. All right, sounds good. All right, now let's quickly add a sound effect for the enemy shooting. So let's look for play one shot. And we'll choose the sound effects laser 1 clip and test it out. There we go. Let's drag out the group. All right, I'm going to create a group for these damaged nodes. I'll just call it got shot. And let's reapply it to the enemy prefab. Actually, I'm going to clean up these nodes a little bit. It looks kind of crazy right now. Not sure how much of a difference that made, but it does look a little cleaner to me at least. Apply it back to the prefab. Alright, so that's it for this video. In the next video, I'm actually going to take that got shot group of nodes. I'm just going to convert that into a macro. And that way we can use the same macro for our player and other enemies we create down the road. So I will see you then.